Hello and welcome, beautiful souls, to my channel, Light of Shaya. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to those of you who are new. I hope you enjoy the content, and welcome back to those of you who are returning. I simply want to say thank you so much for all of your support. I appreciate every single one of you. So today I'm bringing you guys a pick-a-card reading. It's going to be a little bit different from other pick-a-cards that I've done. I think I've done one similar in the past, but essentially this particular pick-a-card is going to be looking at healing to get us into a good space, right? So I have 3 piles already here. I'm going to be inserting a clip shortly. But essentially we're going to take a look at what got you to the set of circumstances where you're at, some shadow attributes that need to be looked at, some advice from the angels, and then I will be reading out of the book for some of the cards here just to kind of make sure that we're in alignment with the advice and where to move forward in order to create more happiness in our lives, right? Because that's always what we're striving for, right? Is to be more happy, abundant, joyous, right? So essentially this is what's going to help align you. If you feel like you've been straying off the path, or you're not really sure where you're going, or maybe there are certain patterns or ideas that you have that need to be brought up to the surface, this particular pick-a-card is designed in order to help you guys align and be in a much more abundant, joyous state. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and insert that clip here, and I'll see you guys at your corresponding piles. Alrighty, hello and welcome, beautiful souls, to your pile selection. So we have pile 1 from left to right, pile 2 in the center, and pile 3 on the far right hand side. Do trust your intuition when it comes to selecting a pile, and of course keep in mind that there may be multiple messages found in this pick-a-card reading for you guys. So if you're drawn to another pile, trust your intuition when it comes to that, alright? So feel free to pause the video here if you need some more time to meditate on your stacks, and I will see you guys at your corresponding piles. Alrighty, hello and welcome, pile 1. Let's go ahead and get started with your reading here. So from the Wild Unknown Spirit Animal Oracle cards here, we have the Lizard and Elk cards. Very warm energies coming off of these. So from the Golden Art Nouveau, we have the Judgment card, the 7 of Swords, and the 4 of Cups. So essentially this is a set of circumstances as to how you got to the place where you're at now. For shadow attributes to take a look at here, we have, wow, the 7 of Swords again from the Murder of Crows Tarot. We have the 10 of Swords, my goodness. Pretty heavy energies here. And we have the 2 of Cups. Oh, pile 1. Okay. And of course we have Change Your Life, or the Tower card, Archangel Chamuel, a sudden revelation that offers freedom. Break free of procrastination, embrace the opportunities that change brings. So this is the advice from the angels. I would consider looking into Archangel Chamuel for further advice, right? If you guys want a meditation or want to learn about a particular angel to work with, that particular angel is going to help you. So we have the Imagination card, absolutely beautiful. I love the artwork in this deck here. Alrighty, pile 1. So the set of circumstances that got us to where we're at now, right? We have the 4 of Cups here, which is a missed opportunity, a rejection. It's not very pretty, especially paired here with the 7 of Swords, right? So with the 4 of Cups and 7 of Swords, it looks like there was an opportunity likely in the past. Of course, these are past energies moving into the present here. Somebody seems to be running away from an opportunity that has been presented, right? An opportunity was left out on the table. Now, of course, I'm assuming here, I get the feeling that this is in regards to a partnership of some sorts. This could be romantic in nature, of course, with the 2 of Cups here. Now, I'm getting 2 messages from this 2 of Cups, which I'll get into later. But given the fact that the 7 of Swords has come out twice, this is very important energy to look at. The fact that it came out from 2 different decks at the same time, and this is in the shadow attributes, means that we need to look at the 7 of Swords, right? We have the 7 of Swords followed by the Judgment card, right? Absolutely powerful energy. It looks like somebody went through some sort of massive awakening process here. Now, of course, given the fact that these are the set of circumstances that got us here, what's really fascinating to me is that this Judgment card, of course, is typically a card that speaks of a resurrection. It's a burning away of the old sense of being in order for us to align more with our soul's mission, our soul's purpose, what our true expression in this world is, right? The Judgment card is then followed by the World, which is a completion of a cycle. It's all of the lessons assimilated to bring us into a state of success, joy, peace, and happiness, right? It is a coming full circle. It's like being reborn again. So in a sense here, this Judgment card may have been a sudden epiphany or awakening experience for you. Now, as I said, this could have been a missed opportunity in love, and what's really fascinating to me, as I said, is that the Seven of Swords is presented twice. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look into the shadow aspects here. The Seven of Swords often speaks of running away from things. It's shirking responsibilities. It's a very selfish energy. We can see here in this particular card how this figure seems to be stealthily walking away with all of these swords. It's like a form of thievery, right? It's a sense of, I got away with what I wanted, in a sense, right? Some of you may have, in a sense, felt that by rejecting a person or being selfish, you may have in a sense, got the better of the situation, is what I'm picking up on. This is a very wily sense. I'm almost picking up like the Wile E. Coyote from the, you know, the Roadrunner, the, what is it? The Warner Brothers character. It's almost like a very sneaky, like, sneaking about, trying to be a trickster about things, which is quite fascinating to me, right? So this behavior needs to be taken a look at, right? We can kind of see the sense of predatory energy coming through here in this very dark card. I love the Murder of Crows Tarot because it brings out some of the more dark aspects within ourselves. Now, I get the sense here, Pile 1, that one of the darker aspects that need to be taken a look at is selfish predatory energy. Now, predatory is it's an interesting word that I'm kind of like trying to tap into the message here as to how I want to convey this. Because I'm almost getting a sense of like Five of Swords energy, of like wanting to win at all costs, but from a very mental space. It's very different. It's very selfish in nature. There's a very selfish feeling here that I'm getting, and I think some of you had a wake-up call in regards to this already. So I feel like whatever this situation is has already been brought fully into your awareness. Now, another message that I'm getting from the Judgment card, which is really interesting, is judging others for who they are or judging yourself too harshly. There may be a sense of judging, judgment in general, right? Being a harsh critic is what I'm picking up on. And of course, when we encounter other people in our lives, granted, there are some selfish individuals, and granted, there are people who don't have the highest intentions for us. However, that doesn't mean that we should put all of our focus in that one person and say, you're the cause of the problem. You are the issue, right? It's about looking at how we allowed ourselves to be put into that situation in the first place, right? So some of you may have shirked your responsibilities in this regards. In particular, I'm getting the sense here that this could have been in a love connection with the Two of Cups. So in the shadow attributes, again, we have the Ten of Swords, an absolute clear ending. This is a betrayal. This is a very dark, dark energy, right? It's time to face the music is kind of what I'm picking up on here, Pile 1. If you guys may have, it's really hard because I feel some of you may have unwittingly done this, is what's really fascinating to me that I'm picking up on. You may have unwittingly done this to another individual, and this caused a great deal of pain and hardship in this person's life, right? And so this is being brought to your awareness in the sense that I'm feeling that maybe for some of you this Judgment card is what you're viewing right now, is almost what I'm picking up on. That you're not recognizing just how much of an impact your actions have on other people's lives, right? Now, another message that I am picking up on is some of you are purposefully running away from looking at the darker aspects of yourself, right? This Ten of Swords is a very, very dark energy. It's one of the heaviest cards in the entire deck, right? It's an absolute betrayal. It's an ending. It is deception in the sense that when all the truth hits you at once, it's a complete burial of the self, right? You can see how these crows are picking away at this person here. It's like they're feasting. They're feasting on the dead, right? And interestingly enough, here's that the dead rising from the ashes again. I'm sensing here there is something in regards to an ending that was supposed to elevate you, but instead I feel like you guys got caught in this lower vibrational energy, right? And perhaps this was in a soulmate connection with the Two of Cups, right? Now, what I'm being guided to say here is this Two of Cups could very well have been in dealings with the soulmate connection, right? This could have been a situation in the past with the Judgment card. And the Two of Cups often indeed talks about mirrored souls, twin souls who are looking at each other and they recognize each other, right? There's a sense of beauty in that recognition. However, we are not capable of loving another if we do not love ourselves completely as we are and wholeheartedly, right? And so when we do not love ourselves at times subconsciously, right? We may consciously say, oh yeah, I love myself. You know, everything that I do is with love for myself, right? And I'm not saying this in a selfish manner. Now, what's really interesting that I'm picking up on here is some of you are going to the extreme in this regard at the disregard of others. This is not a healthy behavior, right? There is a difference between loving yourself, being fully embracing and accepting of yourself, right? There's a difference between that and being egocentric. Egocentricism is it's me, right? So it's about looking at the idea here that we're all interconnected. All of our actions have reactions and there are always consequences. This judgment card is a realization of the things to come. Now, what's going to happen here is if you are unwilling to look at this situation for what it is, we do have Archangel Chamuel stepping in with a tower moment. I think some of you are going to be, in a sense, shocked by what you're going to learn about yourself. Some of you may not see this coming. Of course, the tower moment is instantaneous, and oftentimes it comes in so suddenly that it blindsides us, right? There may be a realization here as to how you contributed to this situation with the Seven of Swords and Ten of Swords. There may have been a lie that you told at one point that caused a great deal of heartache in this particular connection, right? This is not an easy message to deliver, but I know it's absolutely necessary. And if this isn't resonating, you guys, feel free to check out another pile, but this is very this is kind of what I'm tuning into here in that regard. It's not pleasant, in a sense. It's not pleasant. And maybe some of you are running away from opportunities because maybe some of you have been betrayed in the past. Some of you have experienced a great deal of hardship. And that's the nature of life, unfortunately, right? We can either grow from the painful experiences that we have in life. We can either grow from them, or we can choose to bog ourselves down with it. We can choose to carry the baggage forever and have a chip on our shoulder and say, the world is out to get me and everybody is always against me, right? We can do that. You've got free will and you're a sovereign being in that regard. But what is the more empowering state, right? When you're facing your judgment day, when the day comes when you are forced to answer for your past actions on your deathbed, will you be happy with the life that you lived, or will you instead feel guilt and remorse, right? Remember, life is a marathon, yes, but we always have to keep the end in mind. Death is something that comes to us. It's inescapable. You can't avoid it, right? So I suggest that you ask yourself this question, right? Ask yourself with the end in mind. Am I going to be happy with my life looking at the past actions that I've taken? And if not, then it's time to address this, right? And it's not easy to do. It requires very deep shadow work. It requires us to look at our deepest fears, our responses to certain events in our life, whether it be internal experiences or external, right? When a person comes into our life, what is it that we're reflecting and what they are reflecting to us? There is always a lesson to be learned from other individuals. There are always lessons to be taught from each other. We cannot pretend that we know everything, right? One of my favorite quotes of all time will always be that of Socrates, which said, "The only true knowledge is knowing that we know nothing." And that of course, that is true, right? We live in an infinite universe, right? The divine is of infinite creation. And we cannot fathom that, right? Our minds are not capable of that. So for us to keep ourselves enclosed in these little boxes and say, I know everything, I have this idea in mind and this is how it must be, it's much too rigid. And so this Seven of Swords can be very beautiful in high vibration. It can be because it speaks of a person who has a very intelligent mind and uses it instead for good, right? We can use our mind to create beautiful circumstances, or we can use it to decay and destroy other people's sense of self-worth or being. Very interesting message. So I'm going to go ahead and get into reading from the book here. I know this is not an easy message. It's a very interesting, very specific message that I'm getting here, but This is essentially something that needs to be taken a look at in order to get you into a much happier state, right? So let's go ahead and read for the lizard here. It says here, instinctual, sensitive to the subtle, dreamer. The lizard is an expert in the realm of sensory perception. As if it has a sixth sense, the lizard hears what is yet to be spoken and sees what is yet to manifest. Although this is an amazing gift, it can easily wear the lizard down. Big crowds, lots of travel, or overstimulation will drain a lizard of their magical essence. This card is an indication to pull back from the bright lights and big city and return to the inner artist who's been whispering your name. When in balance, artistic, telepathic, spiritual. When out of balance, elusive, non-committal, flaky. To bring into balance a creative project. Isn't that fascinating? This is exactly what this energy is giving me in the out of balance energy, is someone who's flaky, elusive, and non-committal. This is exactly what this is, right here. Right? Somebody who's not interested, somebody who's running away, flaky, non-committal, right? And considering the fact that we have the Two of Cups here, this is somebody who runs away from commitment, somebody who is unwilling to look at why. Why is it that I am unable to commit, right? It's something that needs to be focused on and looked at very clearly. Just had to take a sip of water there. Let's go ahead and see what this elk has for us. Here we have stable, resilient, headstrong, the father. The great elk represents the earth element in its masculine form. This means it provides underlying support and stability amongst life's many changes. An elk personality, whether male or female, is fully established in themselves and knows their core values. They become known and respected for acting in ways that uphold those values. Sometimes the elk's ego can become inflated, but for the most part they make damn good fathers, mothers, lovers, and friends. The world needs more elk energy. When in balance, supportive, kind, consistent. When out of balance, pretentious, high and mighty. To bring into balance, eat and drink more consciously. Okay. So clearly, for whoever this message is, it's of the utmost importance. Please do listen here, because we're clearly getting a very, very clear theme here, in particular when it comes to love, right? Maybe some of you are not understanding the implications of the actions that one takes, right? Someone who is pretentious and high and mighty is in a very egocentric place. That's exactly the energy that I was picking up on. And I can sense likely some people may have already or will be clicking off this video because it's not an easy lesson. And this particular message is being brought to your awareness for a reason. And it's important that you pay attention to this idea. It's a construct, right? There is something here about being flaky, non-committal, pretentious, and high and mighty. And as I said, it's not the easiest message to hear, but this is where the healing work begins, right? We can either choose to suppress this and continue to live our lives like this. And trust me when I say that this will only continue to cause you more pain in the long run. When you look at life on your deathbed, there will be regrets. There is no question about it, because you'll realize you had wasted a lot of your time in this very egocentric energy. We're all in each other's lives for a reason, right? We're all interconnected, and that's the beauty of life. Human beings have that beautiful, beautiful care within their heart space, right? It's about tapping into that idea again and being able to be that protective energy for others, right? Being protective, being able to embrace one another, whether it's in love or in friendship, right? Sometimes we get very bogged down by what we want in life, right? And unfortunately, there is no sense in doing so, because you can sit there and tell yourself, well, I'm at the center of attention here, and my life is what matters most. And yes, you're absolutely right. You are the author of your own book. However, when you start to do it at the cost of others, it starts to impact others in a very negative way, and it causes a great deal of pain and sadness for others. So there's a need to look at that. Why is it that I behave this way? Is this something that I was taught in childhood, or had I been hurt previously in life and now I'm making other people pay for something that someone else did to me, right? There is a need to look at this. Now, it does say here, to bring into balance, eat and drink more consciously. And this is one of the messages that has come out very strongly in a lot of my messages from Spirit. Gratitude mindset is so important. It's so important, right? Mindfulness is incredibly important. When we begin to understand just how blessed we are in the moment, our minds start to expand, our hearts start to expand in a very different way. When was the last time you took a sip of water and truly enjoyed the sense of hydration and refreshment that it gave you? When was the last time that you ate consciously, when you paid attention to the flavors of the food and the textures, the warmth, right? The temperature of the food, right? When was the last time that you did that? Try it next time and see what happens, right? See, open yourself up to that possibility of being a little bit more playful and mindful in the moment about what it is that you're doing in your day-to-day life. Oftentimes, what we tend to do is focus on the future, right? And Eckhart Tolle is one of my favorite authors and speakers in the spiritual community because he does speak of mindfulness. Now, of course, we cannot be mindful at all given times, right? We have a very beautiful, intelligent mind that allows us to multitask, but it's about finding that perfect balance, right? So I'm going to read out of the book here for this imagination card. See what is coming here. So it says here, my gift to you, I come to set your imagination free. But first, you must bless your pain and confusion with the gift of your awareness. In the presence of confusion, there is nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to figure out. Confusion is a totally natural human state. It is actually holy ground. So taste it, embrace it, but do not try to change, interpret, or get rid of it. As soon as you remember that you are not your confusion, its true diamond nature will emerge from the coal, and your imagination will be released, so that you can give expression to your pain and inner demons through a fulfilling process of creativity. Whether you're expressing with a paintbrush or pen, be honest, courageous, illogical, and wild. Go where no one else has gone before. Okay, I'm going to read some questions for contemplation in a moment, but Lizard Spirit was speaking about getting in touch with the inner artist here. One of my suggestions for you guys is express your pain through media, right? It'll help you clear it out. It's a transmutation process, right? So if you're into poetry, into art, into writing, journaling may help you out a lot. Look at the pain. I know it's a very uncomfortable process and it can be very confusing, but as this particular card states, the confusion is part of the beauty. It is what allows us to express ourselves and understand ourselves. It's a perfectly normal human state. So some questions for contemplation here are, what are the ways you avoid feeling pain and confusion? By fitting in, overthinking, keeping busy, getting angry? Where are you still hiding your originality? How do your current relationships reinforce your hiding? Think of a time when you made room for your imagination. Exactly. There seems to be here, I feel like you guys maybe carrying a lot of internal pain that needs to be brought to light. Some of you may have gone through a very traumatic experience in childhood or something that you've been carrying around. It is a sense of baggage that needs to be released. It needs to be released. It needs to be looked at in a constructive manner, right? As this card says, what are the ways you avoid feeling pain and confusion? Pain is a natural state for the human being. Unfortunately, life is painful. There is no if, and, or buts about it. It is something that needs to be worked through. We can either try to avoid it and not look at it and continue to carry it on, or we can face it and empower ourselves through it, right? We all go through difficult experiences. Every single one of us has our own trauma, right? We all carry trauma. Every single one of us, every human being on this planet carries some form of trauma. It doesn't matter if you grew up in the wealthiest of households or the poorest of households. Every single person has their own trauma that they grew up with, that they experienced in their own way, in their own unique soul levels, or soul's choice even. That way it was a decision made by the soul before you incarnated on the planet, right? And it's about looking at that, right? What is the lesson in the pain? What is the lesson? What is the opportunity for growth? When this is addressed, when this particular situation is addressed, Pile 1, it's going to liberate you, and it's going to be, I sense, likely a very painful process. But when it's looked at objectively, you'll see that maybe the fear that you felt wasn't nearly as impactful as you thought it would be. And once you open up to this capability within yourself, I feel that not only are you going to be able to experience the world in a brand new, refreshing way, I feel like you're going to start experiencing the life of your dreams in regards to love and wealth, I'm picking up on, interestingly enough. I feel like some of you may be running away from love because you don't know how to express it, you don't know how to deal with it because of the past traumas that you've experienced. And it's impacting the people in your life. And once this is looked at and expressed, likely through media, this seems to be a recurring theme here. Use art in order to express it in some way, however it may be. And get raw, get really raw about it, right? Really pour your heart into it and see what comes out. What is it ugly? Is it twisted? Is it beautiful, right? Is it dark? Is it macabre, right? Look at how it is presented and know that it is a reflection of the self, right? It is a reflection of yourself and it's beautiful. And I know this is a very dark energy, but there's a beauty to understanding the self, right? Understanding our darkness. We all carry shadow attributes. None of us are perfect, right? None of us are perfect. And when this happens, pile one, I sense a sense of relief. It's like you've been carrying a burden for so long that you've been unwilling to let go of. And when this is looked at, I sense it's like a breath of fresh air. And it's like you're going to open up to a brand new life. And finally, this judgment card here is a reconstruction of the self. It's an awakening to who you truly are as a beautiful human being. Okay, pile one. That was definitely not the easiest message to have stated. I feel like I may have inadvertently triggered some people, but you know, this is my work and this is what I do and this is what needed to be said, right? So anyway, if you guys felt this reading resonated, please do leave a comment down below. I hope I didn't misinterpret anything. If this made sense, I love hearing from you guys. Of course, if you guys need any help, I'm here for you guys, of course. And of course, if you did enjoy the reading at all, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. And as always, I am sending you so much love and so much light. Take care. Alrighty, hello and welcome, pile two. So let's go ahead and get started with your reading here from the Wild Unknown Spirit Animal Oracle cards here. We have the owl, okay. Spider, okay. From the Golden Art Nouveau, we have the Lovers, Gemini energy. The Five of Swords, oof, okay. And the Page of Pentacles, okay. So essentially, these are the cards that got us to the current set of circumstances. We have, for the shadow attributes, for the from the Murder of Crows tarot, we have here the Four of Swords. The Four of Pentacles, okay. So you got two fours here. And, wow, we have the Lovers again, Gemini energy, my goodness. Whoa. Okay, advice from the angels here. We have King of Raphael, or the King of Cups. Warm, generous, honorable, refined. Yes, it is safe to trust. The ability to accomplish many things at once. Follow your creative passions. And from the Wisdom Keeper's Oracle cards here, we have Discernment. All right. Very interesting, pile two. Very, very interesting. So some of these messages, I'm just going to warn you, pile one's was very, very heavy in nature, and so I'm just going to say that some of these messages may be triggering, but this is part of the process. And so if you guys aren't interested in that, of course, feel free to click away, but I'm here to deliver these messages for a particular reason, right? The healing journey is not an easy one. So some of you could very well be dealing with a Gemini or a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces here. With the Page of Pentacles here, we have somebody who's studious, learned, right? Somebody who's very clever, who's learning in life. Page of Pentacles can also represent tarot readings, interestingly enough. And this is a very grounded, methodical energy. So some of you may have started a new project, a new idea, maybe starting some sort of new love connection for some of you. For some of you, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, but some of you could very well be dealing with a Gemini. What's really fascinating to me is that we have the Five of Swords, which follows, right? The current set of circumstances that you're in, that you've come through, is that of the Five of Swords. This is a highly manipulative energy. It's somebody who's very egocentric, somebody who's trying to win at all costs. It is doing battle, right? It is the desire to win at all costs. This could very well be in a love connection with the Lovers card here. And it's very fascinating to me that the Gemini energy of the Lovers has been presented twice, not only in the current set of circumstances, but also in the shadow attributes, right? For some of you, there may have been a decision in love that was made out of a purely egoic or egocentric space, right? And maybe it's because some of you are still trying to learn how it is to do things. And one of the things that I will say is that Five of Swords is definitely not the place to come from when it comes to love, right? Five of Swords is a desire to win at all costs, as I said. So some of you may have come from a situation where you had to fight for what it was that you wanted, right? In particular, in a very powerful soulmate connection. A desire to win, right? Maybe there was a desire to win someone over, or a desire to protect yourself from this person, but from a very egocentric place, right? This could have been a new connection for some of you with the Page of Pentacles, trying to learn something new in that regards, right? The Lovers can sometimes also indicate a choice between two people. So for some of you, that could be a message in that regards. The Lovers in high vibration is an absolutely beautiful energy, right? It's Adam and Eve being watched over by, I believe that is, interestingly enough, the Archangel Raphael, and we have the King of Raphael here. It's a high vibrational love. It's a card of duality. It's the twins, right? It's a reflection of the self. These two who are separate beings are also a reflection of each other. And there was a somewhat of a message like that in pile one, although very different from this space, right? So some of you, as I said, were dealing very well with the love connection. Now, in the shadow attributes here, we have the Four of Swords and the Four of Pentacles. This energy here, 2 fours, typically speaks of stability, right? Creating a solid foundation. But we have the Four of Swords and the Four of Pentacles, which is a sense of refusing to budge. This is very, very like, I'm sticking to this space here. I'm not moving. This is the little box that I've created, and I don't want to budge. I don't want to move, right? There is a necessary look at here. There's something that does need to be healed, pile two. The Four of Swords often does speak of like a reprieve after a difficult set of circumstances, healing, needing to understand ourselves, and looking at ourselves in a very contemplative place, right? So if some of you haven't been contemplating why it is that you are refusing to budge, this is a call to action to do so, right? Why do I have this idea that I need to protect myself, or that I need to have my walls up with the Four of Discs, or the Four of Pentacles here, right? This is a highly conservative energy. Highly conservative energy. It is an energy of refusing to budge. It's right, holding on to what you have in the moment, not wanting to expand, not wanting to grow, the desire to keep the status quo, to keep things as they are, right? There's this whole thing about boxes that we've created for ourselves. I keep getting this whole box thing, right? You can kind of see the rectangular shape here in the window. And you can also see it in these other windows here, right? They're rectangular in shape. They're kind of like, in a sense, I feel like you put yourself almost in a jail cell, interestingly enough. It's like you created a little jail for yourself, and this, you're like, I can't leave this place because this is all I've ever known, is essentially what I'm getting. Now we have this, again, Gemini, Lover's energy coming through here, and it's really interesting because if you see here in this particular card, both cards, both of the twins are looking at the angel. It's like a calling of the angels. Maybe there's a call that needs to be answered in that regard of looking at the self and looking at speaking to the angels in that regard about what it is that the decision that needs to be made in order to heal yourself, right? But note how in one card there is a sense of purity in that regard, right? High vibrational lovers, they're completely nude, of course, which speaks of purity and honesty, and they're facing you. But in the shadow aspect, note how their backs are turned to you, right? Maybe some of you have turned away from this connection because there's something very dark going on within the self, right? Maybe some of you equate love with pain, or this idea that there is a need to suffer for love, or maybe you guys have a very, very boxed in idea of what love is supposed to look like, right? And this is keeping you boxed in. It's a need for contemplation in this regard, right? The lover's energy in lower vibration, lower vibration is disharmony. It's disunion, right? It's the opposite of union. It is a conscious decision that has been made to not align with the self, right? Because even though the lovers does speak of a powerful soulmate connection, at times it also speaks of connecting with the higher self by merging both the masculine and feminine within us, right? So there may be here something in regards to the masculine and feminine energies that need to be blended in a different light, right? Maybe some of you have a boxed-in idea of about what masculinity looks like or what femininity looks like, and there needs to be a healthier approach in that regard, right? What is a high vibrational man look like? What is a high vibrational woman look like? And especially when it comes to dealings in love, how do you achieve being that person, for one, and how do you find that other person who's also in that high vibration, regardless of whether you're male or female, right? Masculine and feminine energies are found and are present within all of us. And it's about coming into union, right? The twins here, or the Gemini energy of the lovers, also does speak of coming into union with self, being in alignment with the higher self, right? So some of you may not be answering that call in that regard of making conscious choices in your life that align with who you are, right? And I feel like you guys have created these little boxes for yourself as to who I am, what my function in life is, how I'm supposed to look like, etc., right? So I'm going to go ahead and get into the wisdom of the oracle cards here. I'll be reading out of the book. So let's go ahead and take a look at the owl here. All right, so here we have the owl. Abundance, clairvoyant, treasures. The owl is a mysterious and otherworldly creature found in folklore from east to west. The white owl in this particular deck is the companion of the goddess Lakshmi and represents wealth, beauty, and good fortune. When the owl card appears, it's an omen that a boon or treasure is on the way, either in spiritual or material form. With owl wisdom on your side, you'll see and know exactly what to do with this boon, how it can further serve your dharma and bring abundance to the world. Trust that the wellspring of treasure is infinite. When in balance, generous, trusting, secure. When out of balance, money, quarrels, scarcity. To bring into balance, an offering. That makes a whole lot of sense because here we do have the Page of Pentacles, right? And the Four of Pentacles, right? Money, quarrels, and scarcity is exactly what this Four of Pentacles speaks of. So some of you may be coming from a scarcity mindset in that regard, being very conservative and saying, I can't move from this space, right? I need to conserve my money, right? I need to not spend it. Page of Pentacles is also speaking of an offer. So it's really interesting is these cards were meant to be previous circumstances, but what I'm sensing with this Page of Pentacles is that there is likely an offer that will be coming in within the future. And I feel with this Five of Swords, there may be a sense of ego on your behalf when this opportunity is presented, right? You'll see and know exactly what to do with this boon. So whatever this opportunity that is being presented, I feel like you will know instinctually what to do on a very, very clear level. But there may be refusing to budge. Let me think about this. I don't want to do it right now. I'm closed off. I need to find myself, which is good. Find yourself, yes, but ask yourself the reason why, right? If you're choosing to, in a sense, run away from love, it's necessary for you to look as to why that is, right? Very fascinating. Now, for others of you, this is also a call to action to make an offering, especially if you have a desire to be with someone who you know the feelings are mutual with, of course, if you feel that bond. There is an offering that you can make in order to help clear out the situation, right? Very interesting. Alrighty, just had to take a sip of water there. So let's go ahead and get into the spider spirit here. What message does this beautiful spider have for us today? Alrighty, here we are. Creator of prosperity through life's work, Dharma. Alright. The spider is an ingenious creator. Its greatest gift is weaving the thread of Dharma into a vast, intricate web that supports the spider and those around it, both financially and spiritually. It is hard work, but the spider But the spider neither tires nor becomes impatient. This card reminds us creativity is everywhere. Be process-oriented rather than results-oriented, and soon your work becomes like the weaving of a magical, priceless tapestry. Abundance follows. Wow. When in balance, appreciative, enthusiastic, prosperous. When out of balance, discouraged, tired, forlorn. To bring into balance, playful creativity. All right. So clearly, you guys, in this particular reading, I'm sensing there's a couple things going on here. For one, this is obviously in dealings with love, with the Lovers and the King of Cups. But this is also in dealings with money, which makes a lot of sense. Maybe some of you have been dealing with a new idea, a new line of work. And with the Four of Pentacles, it's very conservative energy, right? So it's about taking a look at this, right? Why is it that you're doing the work that you're doing? Fall in love with the process. Instead of being results-oriented, as the card says, be more focused on the present moment in that regard, right? Be process-oriented rather than results-oriented, and soon your work becomes like the weaving of a magical, priceless tapestry. Whatever it is that you do in life that you love, remember that, right? It is priceless because it comes from the heart. If you are truly in love with what you do, it's not about the results that you're achieving, it's more about you creating from a space of joy, right? So bring in playful creativity. What is it that excites you about this, right? What is it that excites you in dealings with work? And what is it that excites you in dealings with love, right? And come from that space, right? Be more creative about your approach. Be much more playful. It's time to embrace the inner child when it comes to this regard, right? We do have, as I said, the King of Raphael here, which says warm, generous, honorable, and refined. It says, yes, it is safe to trust the ability to accomplish many things at once. Follow your creative passions, right? So what is it that your creative passions are? And follow them, right? Follow them from the heart, right? The King of Cups does everything from the heart. He follows his heart. He leads with his heart, right? He may not always present all of his feelings up front, but that is exactly what he does. He does everything from a warm, generous heart space, right? And this card is also saying, yes, it is safe to trust. So if you are in a connection, or coming up on a connection here, it is safe to trust this, right? It is safe to trust this. Now, of course, use your best discernment, interestingly enough, this card, when it comes to this opportunity, right? If you're making an opportunity towards someone, be mindful as to why you're doing it, right? Are you coming from a place of fear or the ego? Or are you coming from the genuine desire of being in connection with someone? And make sure that you're in alignment when it comes to that, right? The Lovers does speak of aligning with the higher self, right? Masculine and feminine energy. So let's go ahead and get into this discernment card. I will be reading out of the book for this one as well. So we have discernment here. My gift to you. I'm here to wake you up. Where are you repeating the same mistakes? Where are you refusing to listen and accept the consequences of your heart's truth? You will be surprised at how courageous you are once you begin to be honest with yourself. It is time to start listening to yourself and to others. Learn the art of discernment. Listen beneath the words. Listen for the deeper desires, the emotional agenda, and the underlying tone. Listen beyond your own individual story. This is a grand mythic human drama playing out in your life and all around you. We are all part of it. We all have our version of the underworld. We all carry the wand of a wizard, the sword of a warrior, and the potential for a happy ending. As you begin to see the mythic quality of your own rich human life, your optimism will grow right along with your empathy, compassion, and heroic potential. You are not alone. I am here. Questions for contemplation. Where are you trapped in a self-destructive cycle? Where are you starving for empathy from yourself or others? Discern the ways that your experience of the world around you is colored by your mental and emotional states. How can you be more empathic towards yourself and others in your everyday life? Is there a myth you resonate with at a deep level, one that reflects your family or cultural story? That's a very interesting message, right? In particular, because I was picking up on this in love, right? What is I'm almost getting a sense of like fairy tale dream love, right? It's almost like some of you, in particular, given the fact that the Lovers and the King of Cups have shown up here, maybe some of you have an idea of what love is supposed to look like as opposed to what it actually is, right? So, of course, and I mean, this is something that has been it's pervasive in media, right, as to what love is supposed to look like. It's supposed to be like passionate and complete surrender, right? The whole Disney princess thing of like, you know, waiting for the perfect one, right? The one that's going to complete me, which is something that in a sense we have been taught from a young age, right? If you grew up like watching Disney movies and all that, that's essentially what the myth that has been attached to love. But love doesn't truly look like that, right? If you guys have like a healthy relationship with your parents or somebody that you truly care about, that's a relative or a friend, love doesn't present itself in that way, right? Love is oftentimes done in the little things. It's the experience. It's the little things that really add up to the whole, right? Love isn't always the words, I love you. It's demonstrated in the little things, right? Does this person cook or clean for you? Does this person, you know, it's not always about physical touch. Sometimes it's in the little things, right? Page of Pentacles, it's in the little things, in the little details, right? For example, if you do have a relationship or a person that you remember a relationship with, maybe they did your laundry or washed your dishes, right? Maybe they made the bed for you. These little things, right? Maybe it was a text message saying, please let me know when you get home. Or little things like that is essentially what love is. It's the desire to care and nurture for another individual and make sure that they are cared for and protected and nurtured in that regard, right? It's not this fantastical, super fairy tale-like energy, which is essentially what the Page of Cups and Knight of Cups kind of reflect. In this case, the King of Cups is very different. The King of Cups he's more grounded. Of course, the King of Cups can sometimes be in love with the idea of love, right? So once again, that message coming through as to what the perceptions of love are. And it's a time to restructure this, right? With the Four of Swords and the Four of Pentacles, these little boxes, this little jail cell that we've created in terms of what love is supposed to look like, needs to be taken from a different point of view, right? If you were to write your own myth, what would it be about? So that's an excellent question for contemplation as well, because it allows us to see what our myths are, right? What are the archetypes that we follow? Some of these archetypes need to be cleared out because they're ideas that we're holding on to that aren't necessarily for our highest good or intentions, right? So pile 2, there's a couple messages here in regards to your work, what it is that you love to do. Be process-oriented, not goal-oriented. And this is also in terms of love, right? Be process-oriented, not goal-oriented, right? It's in the little things. It's in the little details, right? So here is that, where are you trapped in a self-destructive cycle? Five of Swords is a self-destructive energy, right? When Five of Swords is experienced, you want to win at all costs. It's a desire to beat someone down, right? It's like, no, I'm going to win. And once the victory has been achieved, in the aftermath, you start to see, you'll see to yourself, or say to yourself, or realize, why was it that I behaved that way? And usually it's followed by shame. It's followed by sadness, a sense of disappointment, right? It's oftentimes the energy that is presented when you truly humiliate another person. In the moment, it might feel like I'm above and I'm powerful, but after it has occurred, there's a sense of, what have I done, right? What have I done? Was this the right action? And typically the answer was no, it was not. So it seems here like there is a need for empathy to be employed here in whatever this set of circumstances are. So there's clearly some shadow work in regards to ideas and constructs that you've created for yourself in love and in work. And in particular, when it comes to the desire to win, right, beating off competition, there is a need to employ more empathy in everything that you do. And when you do this, I sense that you're going to start seeing a bigger picture. You're going to start aligning with your actual truth, and you're finally going to start to embody this beautiful high vibrational lover's energy when you're in alignment with your higher self, when you're free and expansive and joyous and doing every action that you do in love for yourself and for others. So pile 2, that's going to go ahead and wrap up the reading here for you. If you guys felt this reading resonated, please do leave a comment down below. I always love hearing from you guys. I'm always curious to hear what it is that you guys say. I hope this actually did impact you on some degree, because this is essentially for healing work, right? And of course, if you did enjoy the reading, please do hit the like and subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. And as always, I'm sending you so much love and so much light. Take care. Hello and welcome, pile 3. Let's go ahead and get started with your reading. So, from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle cards here, we have the elephant. Beautiful. We have the tarantula. Alright, so we got fire element here. Two energies. These are both fire elements. So the current circumstances that have gotten you to this situation, it's really interesting. I'm feeling like almost like a sense of dread, oddly enough. Here we have the devil, okay, Capricornian energy. This is from the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot. You guys got an extra card, by the way, so don't tell the other piles. We have the Ten of Swords. Oof. Whew. We have the Ace of Swords. Wow. Okay. Moment of absolute clarity here. Followed by the Three of Wands. Okay. That's definitely a good energy to be in after all this. From the Murder of Crows, essentially the shadow attributes that have gotten you to this situation here, we have the Queen of Wands. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Oh my goodness, here we have the devil again. My goodness. Oh my goodness, wow. Wow. And the Knight of Cups. Very interesting. Oh, pile 3. Okay, from the Power of the Angels Tarot here, we have the Star, Archangel Jophiel. A dream come true, believe in yourself, the end of a difficult situation. Okay, the light at the end of the tunnel. Beautiful. And from the Wisdom Keeper's Oracle cards here, we have Anticipation. Beautiful. Okay, so pile 3, this is obviously a very... I wanted to say healing reading, yes, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There seems to have been some very difficult circumstances that you have dealt with, right? We have the devil here twice, which speaks of unhealthy attachments. It's an addiction, an obsession, and lust and desire, right? And the devil energy in itself doesn't necessarily have to always be this low vibrational energy. There is a lot of things to be taught from the devil energy, right? It's when we get caught in our physical reality and we tell ourselves, there is a situation I can't seem to escape from, right? But note how in this particular deck here, we have here two people who appear to be chained, right? They seem to be unable to leave, but those chains around them are very loosely tied around their necks, so they can choose, in a sense, to take those off and walk away. The devil's not going to chase them. The devil's not going to chase them because this is a situation of free will, right? So clearly here we have a betrayal, an ending, right? The light at the end of the tunnel, right? This is a very painful process. And with the Ace of Swords, it's a moment of clarity. It's a moment of clarity. Now this Three of Wands is turning his back away from this situation, right? A moment of clarity and a sense of anticipation. Interestingly enough, there's that anticipation. There's a sense of anticipation, a desire for more in life. So some of you may have confronted some form of devil energy, right? A realization as to an addiction you may have had, something very dark and deep seated within you, right? Some of you could have very well been dealing with a Capricorn or an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We also have Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces here with the Knight of Cups, right? There is a truth that came to light for you. If you haven't encountered this yet, it will be presented to you within the near future, I'm sensing. Now, what's really interesting to me is that there's something here about likely sexuality or desire, right? A desire for control also is what I'm picking up on, interestingly enough. And it has something to do with maybe your passions, right? What I'm being guided to say, what's really interesting is that there's nothing shameful for your desires. Whatever it is that you want in life, right? There is no shame in your desires. And for some of you, this could be sexual in nature, of course. I can't help but notice the sexuality in this particular card here from the devil energy. Now, there's different messages coming through in this regards. What's really fascinating to me is note how the crow, the devil here, it's coming through as very playful, interestingly enough, because there's something shadow aspect, like a trickster energy in regards to this Queen of Wands. Note how the devil's kind of looking at this Queen of Wands. And it's almost like she's looking down at these two people, right? If she were the devil, if that makes sense. The devil is perceiving this Queen of Wands energy. And there's something here in regards to that. It's like they're tied, they're somehow melded together, this energy, right? The desire for, this could be lust very well with the Queen of Wands, right? And the Devil energy, this very deep, lustful energy here. And what I'm sensing here is that there's nothing wrong with your sexual desires. If some of you do have that belief system that maybe it is sinful in nature for you to want to engage in sexual matters with your partners. But there is likely an obsession that has come to light because of it, right? There's like one sword that is calling out to me. The sword of truth lies in the middle of all of these, right? And it's interesting to me that this particular sword, which isn't actually stabbing the gentleman, is the sword of truth. Note how most of the other swords are piercing him, except this one. And the truth is in the pain. The truth is in the pain, pile 3. The truth is in the pain. It's really interesting. Is there something painful that you've been engaged in, right? Is there something that you find pain in? And it's a time to take a look at this, because I think you already kind of, in a sense, have felt the truth in this regard. But maybe you've turned your back on this painful truth because maybe you don't want to take a look at it. It's like I'm trying to perceive it because it is a little bit confusing, right? I feel like some of you may be confused. It's really interesting because I'm noticing there's another sword that's stuck into the earth, right? And one of them is, in a sense, stabbed into the cloak here, right? As I said, there's something about like you missing the truth or something like that. It's like there's a truth in the pain, and you're not seeing it, you're not perceiving it. It's like you had the moment of clarity, but it's not entirely 100% what you're perceiving it to be. It's like this truth has come to light in regards to this painful ending situation, in regards to your desires, likely an obsession or a lustful situation, but you're not really truly seeing the truth in it, because it's kind of like it's keeping you stuck in a sense, right? And of course the devil energy does speak of that, of you being stuck. Now what's really fascinating here is that we do have the Knight of Cups, right? Which is love, right? It's romance. It's romance. So I feel like some of you are confusing maybe passion with love. And this is something that needs to be taken a look at, right? Maybe there's a desire here that you're attributing to love, and it's not entirely true, right? Passion and love are two separate things, but they can work in tandem, if that makes sense. They can work in tandem. And I think this moment of clarity that you had is a beautiful one. It's a beautiful one because it's helping you liberate yourself from something, an idea that you had in a construct. It's like a confine you created for yourself, and you're anticipating more. It's like you're waiting for the new thing to come as a result of this. You've already turned your back on it because you're saying, I already discovered the truth. I already know my truth, but you're also turning your back on it because I don't think you've looked at it clearly enough yet. There's a deeper truth in the truth, if that makes sense. It's really bizarre that I'm picking up on this. It's like, yes, you already know the truth. There's oh my goodness, I'm feeling a deep sense of sadness here and pain. You already know the truth, pile 3, and you haven't looked at it clearly enough yet, is what I'm sensing here. I'm being guided to say, in a sense, there's nothing wrong with you. If you feel like I feel like maybe some of you may feel like you're a misfit in this world because you don't tie in to the idea of the world, right? I feel like maybe there was something here about your upbringing that made you believe about something about what life's perception is, or something like that. Like you're perceiving something as sinful when it's not. You're perceiving something maybe as sinful when it's not, or something along those lines, right? And it could be in ties with your passions, right? Maybe even sexual desire and your idea of love. Because note how even in this particular card, this combination of cards, note how the devil is looking at the Queen of Wands and turned away from the Knight of Cups, right? Note how they're kind of like the devil's perceiving the Queen of Wands, but the Knight of Cups is more facing you. And know how the animal or the horse is perceiving the devil. It's like looking at the devil, right? So there's something very primal here. There's something very primal here. It's like I can't help but notice the picking up on sex here. For some reason, sexual desire is coming through very strongly here. And in a sense, God is saying there's nothing wrong with your sexual desire. It's just you need to look at it differently. That's essentially what Spirit, God, the divine is saying. It's like you need to look at it differently. You're not looking at it in the right way. It's like I've been trying to get this message to you because in a sense what God is saying, or the divine, is like there's nothing wrong with you or there's nothing wrong with your sexual desires. It's just you're not seeing it the way it's supposed to be looked at. It's supposed to be freeing. It's not supposed to be confining. It's supposed to free you and allow you to express yourself in a very beautiful, natural, physical way. But you're attaching it to some sort of weird idea that is not part of your being, interestingly enough, is essentially what I'm picking up on. And for some of you, this could be for the feminine in that regard, because I note the Queen of Wands. There's something very slender here about her. For some of you, I'm also sensing here that maybe you're attributing your physical body with how sexually desirous you are, like how much somebody wants you. And what's really interesting is maybe this Queen of Wands is the one that has made you believe something about yourself. This Queen of Wands, this Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or this Capricorn, has made you, in a sense, perceive something about yourself. Now, what's really fascinating to me is I can't help but notice the feminine is kind of, in a sense, moving towards the male's torso here. It's really interesting. Okay. Okay, this is, okay, please forgive me if this is a bit strange that I'm picking up on this, but this is going to be adult, okay, very adult, so prepare yourself in this regard, because the way I'm looking at this is there's something here about oral sex is what I'm picking up on, and the act of doing so. And I feel like some of you may feel like this is a sinful act or something like that, when in reality it simply is another expression of your sexuality, and there's something here in that regard. I can't seem to pick up on it, right? Maybe some of you may feel like that's somehow wrong or sinful in nature because it's not pure. And it's really interesting because I'm getting a ringing in my ear in this regard, and it's kind of like that there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with expressing your physical desire for another human being. There's nothing wrong with it. And as I said, note how the Knight of Cups here is looking towards you, of course, but the horse is looking at the devil, right? It's like perceiving it. It's like maybe you perceive this as too primitive or primal in nature for it to be expressed in a natural way, and it doesn't suit your paradigm, is what I'm saying. There's something here in that regard, like there's something here about an attachment to that idea, and now there's a sense of like needing to wrap up that cycle in a sense. That message went on for quite longer than I anticipated. It's very fascinating to me. I hope I'm picking up on this appropriately, because I can't seem to, it's like an idea that I can't grasp. This must be on a very individual basis for you. And I feel like maybe this is something that you were taught or something like that. I just had to take a sip of water there. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. That went on a little bit longer than anticipated. But here we have, of course, the light at the end of the tunnel, essentially. An angel that you could work with in this regards is Archangel Jophiel, okay? It says here, a dream come true, believe in yourself, the end of a difficult situation. So you guys are coming out on the other side of this, and there is a very healing experience that you're going to have. Sexuality is supposed to heal us, not drag us down, right? It's supposed to be an expression of the self, so you could also be dealing with an Aquarius here, but there is a wish fulfillment coming your way, pile 3 with the star card here. You need to believe in yourself. Your soul is already on the right path, is what I'm picking up on here. Your soul's expression is already pure in its sense. You're a very pure being, but you're allowing the physicality of this life to essentially like drag you down. I'm sensing almost like you're dunking yourself beneath the water, trying to grasp for air again, and there's a sense of whatever this belief is, I feel it's already in a sense emerged and you're kind of in a sense aware of it already, but it needs to be taken a look at again. Like you need to look at it again, as uncomfortable as that might be. This is going to be a very healing experience for you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and read out of the book here for the elephant spirit, the tarantula, and then for the anticipation card once we get to that. So let's get into the elephant here. Unstoppable, auspicious, wise. The element is arguably the most auspicious figure in the deck. Like Ganesh, the elephant represents immense wisdom as well as good fortune. It is said that the great elephant is the destroyer of obstacles. So if this card appears when you feel stuck, rest assured the path will soon become clear, right? As I said with the star card. To add to the mystery, the elephant is also known to create obstacles in order to steer us in the right direction. Trust this gentle, noble creature. It illuminates the way with the light of self-knowledge. When in balance, one-pointed focus, generous, loving. When out of balance, misunderstands fate. To bring into balance, trust. Okay. So clearly here, pile 3, you are a very wise being. And as I said, your soul's already leading you in the right direction. That's essentially what I'm picking up on here, right? When in balance, one pointed focus, generous and loving, somebody who's very loving and generous and expansive. Are you this person? Are you this beautiful, expansive, joyous soul who loves to give to others? Pay attention to that because that is your soul's expression, right? And when out of balance, it misunderstands fate, right? Maybe you're attributing certain ideas with your fate, right? When in reality, there is nothing there in regards to that, right? Maybe you're misunderstanding who you are as a soul's expression, right? To bring into balance, trust. Trust in the divine, trust in God, spirit, however you refer to your higher power, to lead you down the right track, right? If you're not going down the right track, you'll be led in another direction. Like you will clearly know what the path is, right? So there is a matter of trust being needed here. Trust that you're on the right path, because if you weren't, you would already know this, okay? So let's go ahead and see to the tarantula here. I'm just sensing here that some of you maybe experience a sense of confusion in your life because you're not really sure if you are on the right path, but it's very clear to you here what the right direction is. So here we have at a crossroad, claiming life's purpose, right? There's that whole thing about fate again. The tarantula represents a moment when a great decision must be made. It involves prioritizing your life's deeper purpose or dharma. A habit or routine from the past is sidetracking you from your dream, yet a voice inside keeps begging you to refocus your attention, as I was saying earlier, right? In order to find true happiness, you must choose dharma. Until you do, satisfaction will be fleeting. The tarantula hovers patient and calm, like an old friend that knows your inner soul. It already knows you'll choose wisely. When in balance, follows intuition. When out of balance, hesitates, over-intellectualizes. To bring into balance, daily journaling, right? So some of you, as I said, may be very, very caught in your head about this, right? 10 of Swords, Ace of Swords, right? This very, very heavy mental energies here. So you already know what direction to go. You already know intuitively what the right decision in your life is. And it's about following your fate, your destiny, like who you are as a soul in this world. And what is meant for you is meant for you, right? I get this sense of like clearing here. There's a sense of like my solar plexus kind of opening up. There's a sense of beautiful expression, right? Fire energy, right? The solar plexus is in alignment with us. And as I said, some of you are attributing parts of yourself as something. You're over-intellectualizing something that does not require intellectualizing, is what I'm sensing, right? In particular, when it comes to perhaps desires here or ideas that you have in regards to love, in regards to lust, in regards to passions, right? And you already know what this truth is for yourself. It's just a matter of aligning with it, right? It's just a matter of aligning with who you are, essentially, right? To bring it to balance, daily journaling is being recommended here. So journal out what these thought ideas, these patterns are, in order for you to get them down into paper, right? Especially if you're like really wrapped up in your head, right? 10 of Swords, Ace of Swords here. If you're really wrapped up in your head about it, write it all down. Ask yourself why you feel the way you do about these ideas, right? Some of you, I feel, are over-intellectualizing something. And this is a perfectly natural human experience, right? Sometimes we get too caught up in the idea of who we are based off of our mind, as opposed to who we are as a soul, right? Coming from a place of love, essentially, right? Very beautiful here. A habit or routine from the past is sidetracking you from your dream, yet a voice inside keeps begging you to refocus your attention. As I was saying, there's a truth that needs to be looked at in a different light, because there's something in regards to that. You already know your truth, but there's a recognition of it and needing to refocus your attention in this regard, okay? So let's go ahead and get into the anticipation card here to wrap up this message. So this card says, my gift to you. I come when it is time for a new experience. A new world or life chapter is beckoning you. Every cell in your body is intricately linked, just as every impulse within you is communicating to the whole of creation. If you listen carefully, you can anticipate what is coming, as well as what is truly needed. You hold the key to your dreams in your own hand, and it is your responsibility to turn that key. But remember, you are not here to manifest your dreams on your own. Allow others to participate and take one small step at a time. Pace yourself. Ask for help. Rest when you need it. Don't overdo or underdo. Do not expect things to turn out exactly as you imagine. Then embrace the thrill of anticipation. That's beautiful. So some questions for contemplation, it says here. Where in your life do you tend to feel too full or too empty? Do you tend to go back and forth between the two? Do you fantasize a lot but have difficulty making things happen? Are you so driven to manifest your dreams that you burn out? Track your thoughts in your journal today. How much time did you spend obsessing about the future or rehashing the past? Share a dream with someone you trust. Let them in. Let them influence the shape and direction of your dream. Fascinating. Okay, very interesting. Now, what's really interesting here is that there is something here about fantasizing, right? Which makes a whole lot of sense here. Maybe some of you have sexual fantasies that you're unwilling to share with others because you feel like maybe you're not allowed to express yourself in this way. Because do you fantasize a lot but have difficulty making things happen? That's so fascinating to me. It's like there's a message tied into that particular idea, right? Maybe some of you perceive that something that you appear to be as a sexual fantasy as something sinful in nature, when in reality it's not. It's like a part of your sexual expression in your being, essentially, okay? Now, it says here, where in your life do you tend to feel too full or too empty? Which makes a whole lot of sense. Now, the thing about devil energy is that it is meant to be explored in order for us to understand ourselves on a very human, physical, intrinsic level. So what is it within you that is calling you? What is this that is drawing you down into the physicality? And take a look at it from a cold, hard, objective look, right? Journal it down. Why do you feel that these ideas that you have about yourself are impacting you so strongly? Maybe there isn't a need for you to overthink this situation, because it looks like, in a sense, you've kind of been beating yourself up about this. Ten of Swords, a complete and total ending. Painfully, it's a very painful experience, right? But there is a truth in the pain that comes to light. This is a beginning of a brand new cycle in your life, right? Which this particular card interestingly does speak about, right? You hold the key to your dreams in your own hand, and it is your responsibility to turn that key. But remember, you are not here to manifest your dreams on your own. Allow others to participate and take one small step at a time. Pace yourself. Ask for help. So for some of you, of course, this could be a sexual addiction for some of you that maybe you will need to go to some therapy for, right? To try and understand why you feel the way you do about it. There's nothing wrong with your sexual expression, pile 3. I do want to say that. There's nothing wrong with your sexual desires or anything like that. But the question that you also need to ask yourself, are you allowing your sexual desires to control your entire way of living, right? And do keep in mind that these aren't necessarily things that you're acting on, but rather an internal experience that could be kind of, in a sense, a loop that you've caught yourself into, right? Are you so driven to manifest your dreams that you burn out? Are you burning yourself out thinking about these things? Or what is a dream that you have that you want to make reality? And are you taking the steps to make that happen, right? The Three of Wands, it's a card of expectations. It's anticipation, right? An anticipation for some sort of experience that you'd like, right? Maybe some of you are attached to the Queen of Wands here. Maybe some of you have an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius in your life, or a Capricorn here that you want to be with or something like that. But there may be something here in terms of sexuality that you're tying this. I feel like some of you may be confusing passion with love, in a sense, is almost what I'm picking up on as well, right? Because we have the shadow attribute of the Knight of Cups, someone who's in love with love as well. Somebody who's just in love with the idea of love and not actually going out and doing the thing, right? Not actually going out and experiencing love because maybe you're too attached to a certain idea of what love is supposed to look like. Maybe some of you feel like you can't experience love and lust combined, right? That they're two separate things for whatever reason. Which is absolutely not true. Like, sexual desire for your partner is nothing to ever be ashamed about. It is not. You're meant to experience each other in that way. It's about letting the inner child out in that regard, right? What is your inner child telling you in that regard? If you have a person, especially if, like, let's say you're in a relationship that you have a sexual attraction for, that's okay. You don't have to worry about that. It's okay for you to have these feelings for your partner. There's nothing wrong about having these experiences with your partners. Do you tend to go back and forth between being too full or too empty, right? Maybe there's a need for balance in regards to your desires, right? And because the devil is often a card of overindulgence, right? So maybe there's something that you're either overindulging in or removing yourself completely because you say, I can't engage in this desire, right? It's like, I either have to engage in it fully or I have to completely detach myself from it. It's like one or the other. And it's like a need to find the in-between. It's a need to realign, right? There's a need for alignment. And this is why this reading is here, is to help you align with your truth. What is your truth, pile 3? Who are you as a being, right? And how is it that you can tie into this? Because it's really interesting is this devil energy and Ten of Swords is somehow linked. There's a linking between these two that is causing you a great deal of grief, essentially, right? A great deal of grief. Now, with the Ace of Swords and the Three of Wands, there's a truth here. There's a truth that, in a sense, you've kind of turned your back to, and it needs to be looked at. There's a sense of anticipation for the thing, for your truth, but you already found your truth. And it's like it's almost in a sense like you're looking outside of yourself for the truth, as opposed to inside, is kind of what I'm getting here, right? Some of you could have had a Capricorn or Aries, Leo, Sagittarius in your life that made something appear to be a certain way when it wasn't that. What is your truth is what's kind of like screaming at me right now. Is like, what is your truth? Follow your heart, follow your dreams, follow your desires in a beautiful light, right? Don't allow them to control you, but also don't remove yourself completely, because our life is physical in nature. Yes, we have a very spiritually, like, divine connection with the universe, with spirit, with God, the divine, right? Yes, we do have that. But we're also here to play. We're also here to have fun. We're here to experience ourselves. We're here to learn from each other. We're here to experience life. And that is okay. It is okay for you to want these things, whatever they may be for you, right? Some of you may have an attachment to love, an idea of what love is supposed to look like, and it's a need to look at this. Maybe you saw an unhealthy dynamic play out at home, and so now you're recreating that experience, and you already are aware that that's essentially what you're doing, right? And so there's this whole like back and forth energy coming through here. It's like 1 second you're attuned, 1 second you're not. 1 second you're attuned, 1 second you're not. And it's like you already know your truth. So it's a need to look at it and follow your heart, follow your intuition. When your body is in alignment, what does it feel like, right? If it's coming from a place of fear, then that is not your truth. If it's coming from a place of heart expansion and growth and everything is in alignment, you'll feel it in your body. When something is causing you fear, that's what needs to be taken a look at. Because if it's coming from a place of fear, it's not in alignment with your soul. And another thing that I'm picking up on here is that there is, in a sense, a lack of self-confidence in this regard. Sometimes the devil does speak of that, a codependent nature, right? Maybe some of you have a codependent nature, and there is a need for you to take a look at that. Why do you experience codependency? What is it about that, right? Again, as I said, there's an attachment here between passion and love, and it's like something here is just not adding up for you, and you keep on moving back and forth, but you already know your truth. Love yourself. Accept yourself for who you are. You're a beautiful human being. You're a beautiful human being. Don't deny who you are, embrace who you are. And if it's coming from a place of lack or fear, this energy needs to be accepted and embraced, right? I feel like in a sense your inner child is trying to come to light, and you're not allowing it to express itself in that way because there's a sense of fear, right? A sense of fear coming through in this regard, pile 3. And it's really, this is quite an interesting reading for me. I can't seem to, I feel like this is, I mean, I hope I'm interpreting this correctly. I hope I'm not like deviating at all from what the truth is here for you guys. If I'm even, it's really bizarre because this is kind of going down a very specific path, and I tend to doubt myself in that case sometimes because I'm not sure if I'm truly, you know, in alignment here. I hope I'm reading this correctly for you guys, and if I am, please do leave a comment down below just to confirm, right? Maybe some of you might need a little bit of therapy, a shoulder to cry on. Maybe there's somebody in your vicinity that you can trust your trust to speak about these things, right? Somebody that you already have a good connection with, that you know that you can come to talk about these things. Now, for others of you, of course, as I said, this doesn't necessarily have to be sexual in nature. This could be an addiction of some sorts. Maybe some of you are struggling with some sort of addiction in regards to drugs or alcohol, right? Addictions come in various forms. I mean, somebody could be addicted to money. You could be addicted to stamp collecting or like coin collecting, right? Addiction is something you cannot let go of, right? It's something that you're like, I can't get enough of this. I need more of it. I need more of it. It's like you're trying to feed yourself, right? When we're attached to the devil energy, it's like I need more of the thing, otherwise I am not sated. And this is something that, of course, can become unhealthy in the long run. The question you need to ask yourself, pile 3 as well, which ties into pile 1 a little bit, is when you are on your deathbed, are you going to look back on your life and say, I lived a very, very fulfilling life, and I'm so happy with all the decisions I made? Or would you have some sort of regret around the way you lived, right? If you feel like you're going to regret not having done something or doing something, right? Fortunately, my video cut out, but if you feel like there's something that you're drawn to or something like that, the question you need to ask yourself, in a sense, is like, when you're on your deathbed, are you going to be happy with the choices that you made, or are you not, right? And so it's about looking at this, okay? Look at the choices that you've made in your life. Try to perceive what is your truth in that regard, and whether or not you will have regrets around this decision, right? Will you be proud of the decisions that you've made in your life, or will you not? And in the grand scheme of things, it's necessary to look at this, right? It's necessary for us to ask ourselves these questions. It's about your truth, pile 3. What is your truth? Live your truth, live your life. Be expansive and joyous and happy. And if you are struggling with an addiction, I suggest perhaps seeking help in that regard, right? If you have an addiction of some sort, of course, with the devil being presented twice, that is something that needs to be taken a look at. And other times, it's a construct of the mind, is kind of what I'm picking up on here, especially with the Ten of Swords, Ace of Swords. It's a construct of the mind, something that we hold ourselves to. Over-intellectualizing something doesn't allow us to truly express or experience the very thing that we are experiencing, because we tend to be caught in the mind, right? And so essentially that's the biggest message coming through here, pile 3. So if you guys felt this reading resonated, please do leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys to make sure that I am, in fact, touching upon the thing that is going on here, because this is a very interesting, very specific message. And of course, if you guys did enjoy the reading, please do hit the like and subscribe button. That's greatly appreciated. And as always, I'm sending you so much love and so much light. Take care.